Be the right club. Be the right club today. Yes!
Johnny, that's better than most.
How about in?
That is better than most. Better than most!
Expect anything different?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Laying Up live show, happy hour edition, United States Open Championship Week. Solly here, joined by my guy counterclockwise this time, Big Randy. Hello, Mr. Big. How are you?
Hey guys, great to be here. Excited for the week to begin, man. I am genuinely can't wait.
TC trying to fulfill his goal of getting canceled for dabbing this week is here. Hello, Mr. TC.
Hello, I was just taking after your guy Terry Francona last night. Big Reds dab after the win.
You would never, ever put Espinal in the 2-hole against a right-handed pitcher, TC. DJ Pie is here. Hello, DJ.
Greetings, guys. U.S. Open week, one of the best of the entire year. Can't wait to talk about it.
So much to talk about. It is No Laying Up Happy Hour presented by FanDuel. High stakes, iconic moments. This is major golf, and FanDuel is your winning play. Guys, FanDuel's got a lot of great stuff this week. Get a no-sweat first-round leader bet, so you can get bonus bets back if your first-round leader bet doesn't win. Plus, check back each day of the tournament for more great offers to help you stay in on the action. Of course, be on the lookout for some No Laying Up specials live in the app. There's a special tab there with a bunch of our plays for the week. I'm just going to say my first-round leader, plus 8,000, odd subject to change, Akshay. That was my throw out there for a little first-round leader. Played well at Memorial, big a lot of rough on that golf course, around the same penalty-ish for Miss Ferris. Just a little thought out there. 8 plus 8,000. That's a nice play. They got tons of ways to play. FanDuel.com/NLU to download America's #1 sportsbook and tee off this major week. Must be 21 older in President select states or 18 older in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Refund issued as a non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit rg-help.com. I'm ready for the major week. Let's go.
Let's go.
Solly, where's your Pews hat?
TC, I literally went to go look for it and I can't find it, which I'm seeing on the aftermarket. I was going to wear it unironically today to help fulfill the bet. And I've seen on aftermarkets that it's going for like $120 on eBay. I want to find this so I can profit off of this hat. I don't know if it's selling, but I saw one listed on a website for $120.
Demented world we live in.
I know. It's bad,
you can list it for anything. I mean,
I'm trying to set the market.
Guys, I got a simple question to kick it off here. TC, I'm going to start with you. What has you most excited from the past few days? Obviously, we had the Sunday pod, but we've had a couple days now. We had our preview. We've had a lot of guys in the press room. We've had a lot of golf course reports. Had a lot of tweets. What's got you fired up right now?
The fact that Oakmont is drying out, and the fact that guys are gonna get punched in the mouth. They know they're gonna get punched in the mouth, and they're okay with it. They're not being bitchy. They're like, this is what the U.S. Open's supposed to be. I feel like that's starting to become in vogue again. Of, hey, we know what the task at hand is, and we're gonna lean into it instead of whining.
Randy, how you feel about that?
He hates it. He wants it whining.
I know. Part of me is like, man, I think
you get the man who has everything here.
The USGA
the dog that caught the car.
But that gives the USGA license to go absolutely ham from here on out. Like they've righted the ship.
Yeah, which I hope they do. I'm kind of both sides on that. It's nice to see guys speaking clearly about like this is going to be a challenge. This is a U.S. Open. This is more than anything Oakmont. Capital P proper, like haven't heard anybody speak bad about the U.S. Open being at this golf course. So do I hope they lose a hole? Do I hope they put a pin in a spot where guys just lose their minds? Of course I do. We'll see. But I'm like TC. I'm just excited. I truly, reading, I'll shout out Jeff Shackelford, his newsletter. I think he's done a really good job. He's starting to talk about the course drying out, and man, if we get good weather, at least first couple rounds, it's just going to be great viewing these next couple days. I'm excited genuinely for the tournament to start.
Solly, what's got you frothing?
Well, real quick on that, if they've got people with blowers out there in the rough, like fluffing the rough,
Fluffers.
TC's boys, the
Fluffers. Yeah.
I want them in the fairway in the landing areas, fluffing the fairway as well. Just literally take the blower and just dry out the fairways. We need that aspect of it as well. I am most excited, Deej, about the uncertainty of all this. It is. I'm kind of viewing this U.S. Open. I don't want to say I think Sky's going to win like by a lot. I'm going to get that out there. But if he doesn't, a surprise. I would not be surprised to have a surprise winner. Like, I think it is a way more open contest than we're used to having. Just looking at some of the names that were involved in 2016, like I think that you can go decently far down the board. And I haven't felt that way about a major in a long time. I'm as outside of Scotty, I'm so unconvinced on anybody out there that I feel like I'm just coming in to experience this rather than to see like if the person I thought is going to play well is going to like ball out, or like, I was all over Bryson's PGA and I just feel like I was living and dying almost with everyone. I just don't feel that way. I feel like, dude, fuck me up, man. I do whatever you want for the next 4 days. Like, I think we're about to get some really fun shit, and I'm excited for that. And I think they're primed for this to be a very proper U.S. Open. It's going to satisfy people of all golf interests.
Sure.
Sully, I went back and listened to our 2016
I can't believe
recap.
you do that. I could never do that.
Scott Piercy. I rarely ever do that. Scott Piercy was up near the top of the leaderboard.
He's breaking tape, man.
Yeah, I had to go remind myself. We had some really bad Chambers takes.
TC.
Yeah.
But I think overall, like, I'm kind of with you of like, it feels like it's either going to be the best player or it's going to be a total shot. Tom Hoagie, HE, things of that nature.
But that will be the best player this week. And I might change my mind by Sunday to see how it plays out, but I don't think that would be fluky. And I think a bad setup, you can end up with a fluky winner, like that's not tested in the proper ways, gets away with mistakes. And like basically what the Valhalla test was. I know that wasn't a fluky winner, but like that's the bad route to a major. This will just be like, dude, if Russell Henley goes out and just plays flawless golf and wins this thing, like he was the best golfer this week. And you can't like go into one saying like Russell Henley could easily win. I would not say it at Quail Hollow, right? So that's just what kind of makes
it would be a validation of similar to what we were saying with Aaron Hills and U.S. Women's Open, where it's so dissimilar from LPGA setups that it identifies what seems to be a fluky winner when really they're just not identifying the right player week to week.
Yeah.
Could be something similar here. Although I think Scotty's being identified as the best player week to week. So
fun stat. This will be the 10th US Open at Oakmont. 7 of the 9 previous winners, it was their first major victory. So, it's solid to your point. Yeah. Somebody in the chat asking if I've had dreams of Lucas Glover winning. I have not. I was hoping something would come to me. I guess
be a first-time winner.
You
That's
haven't
right.
had dreams of anybody winning.
I haven't had dreams of anybody winning, unfortunately, but we still have tonight.
One more sleep tonight.
Yeah, that's right. That's
right. Solly, I'm very much with you. That was kind of my thing as well, is like circling Scotty first on my answer sheet and then being like, whoa, the next guy is like, this was the hardest one where who won't win. I feel like that we'll do at the end of the show. I'm like, I don't really want to. Any of these guys could win. I don't really want to pick any of these guys. So it was kind of a tough one. But I want to ask you, Solid, how far down the list does that go? Because I feel like every major that we've gone into, it's like, dude, it's gonna be one of the top 8, 9, 10, 12 guys, and like that's it. Are we talking like anybody can win? Or are we talking anybody in the top 30 can win? Anybody in the top 50 can win? Anybody in the top 80 can win? You know what I mean?
Somebody from that tour.
Somebody from that other tour.
The odds, I would say, as far down on the odds list as plus 10,000 from Monday. I haven't looked at the updated odds, but like I think Harris English can win this championship, and he was plus 10,000 as of Monday. I haven't. If I went farther than that, I possibly could find a few other names, but I keep hearing from you guys about this Keegan guy. Didn't see a lot of Keegan plays in a lot of your plays, but I saw only one person claimed it. But I keep hearing about that guy, but I haven't seen a lot of putting money where the mouths are on that one. But
what is not to like about Keegan this week? Guy drives it straight. Guy's a major champion. Playing on those cold weather grasses. TC. I've been hearing Tape Watcher TC.
Yeah,
talk all about that.
What's not to like is his very poor major championship record, I think would be the answer to that question. But I hope you're right.
Unburdened by what has been, Solly.
Can I just get it out, Deej, too? Something else I'm really, really,
Please.
really excited about, and I can't contain myself. Lady J, just dressed up in all sorts of patriotic attire. She looks absolutely delightful, just incredible. You can see her here in the background of Eddie's post here. It's just full on like Ryder Cup wag outfit.
It's the national championship. You're not. I far be it from me if I am wrong. Cody, can you put that back up for one more sec? I think she's wearing golf shoes, which you don't see that from a lot of the wags. I know the rough is wet out there. It's probably slippery, a lot of hills. So I support the golf wearing or golf shoe wearing there. I just wanted to flag that. Nobody's doing that.
No
Especially
inclusions,
not the wives
baby.
and girlfriends.
No
game.
inclusions. And I think
So,
I heard rumors that she was walking around with our friend Joseph Lamagna out there, and they were chopping it up. So I would love to see P get involved this week.
Another guy
Saturday. Oh, sorry, bad joke. Saturday, short drive over to DC if she wants to take in the big parade.
Moving on. Another guy I would like to see get involved is a guy that visited the press room this week already. That's Bryson DeChambeau, who was in mid-season form. I thought had some of the greatest quotes I think we've seen for a while. Let me start with this one. This was on the State of the Crushers / Live quote. I think that Liv is not going anywhere. HE has been steadfast in his belief on team golf, and whether everybody believes in it or not, I think it's a viable option. I think it's a viable commercial option. Our team has been EBITDA positive over the past 2 years, so we're starting to grow and move in the right direction, just like TGL. Which I was thinking about today, and I don't think I could, like, if you had a chat bot, if you had no matter how good this AI stuff gets, I don't think anybody's ever coming up with anything funnier than the Crushers. Actually, sir, the Crushers have been EBITDA positive for the last 2 years.
I'll have you know.
I think one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
I feel like they're stripping out maybe some overhead expenses or some startup costs that HE may have.
It's literally
granted.
It's like I don't pretend to know all the ins and outs, but literally Piff is just Liv is just funding the teams. Like the money for team finishes goes to the teams.
No, he said they're talking to Google. They're talking to JP Morgan. I think he was just listing off 8 to 10 different corporations.
Right, but the losses from this, like the expenses from this thing, do not flow down to the teams. Is the point here? Like, the point he's not making here.
Oh God,
it's awesome.
Awesome, very cool.
Yeah, we're more of an ocean family.
I just was not expecting to see that, and I don't know. I feel like the Content King hasn't really brought the heat in the press room for a while. It's been a lot of YouTube stuff, and so it's really great to see that one. A couple other,
just real quick on that. Ben Coley was making a great point on this today of just like Rom admitting that it's easier to top 10 at live events was like, whoa, he said it out loud. It's like, we live in this world where we just like have to pretend these statements, like you either like let these statements go and exist in the world and call them out as being lies, or otherwise they just exist without like being challenged. And it's very difficult world to live in. It's comparing it
was glazing him.
The earth being flat. Like you got to think about, I mean, like you have to make some concessions on the idea that the earth could be flat here. It's like, no, like, I think it was Bob Costas that was making that point this week as well. But just that throwing that out there, I think, it's going to be commercially positive. It's like, no, it is not. It is absolutely, that's the one thing it's not going to be. We know that, but you just could say that thing in front of millions of people and pretend that it's true.
If there is a team that is positive EBITDA, it's got to be the Crushers. So,
they're getting all that money from Bryson's YouTube channel. They own 75% of that.
What's the depreciation on some of these handbags going to be that the cliques are bringing in?
I was going to say,
Yeah, but this is before depreciation.
Yeah, true. Good point. All right. That one's going to stick with me for a while. Another quote he had, I did appreciate this. This was kind of saying the quiet part out loud about the foot. TC Bryson was talking about wing foot and in context with Oakmont. It's not like every single hole is wing foot out here. You can't just bomb it on every single hole and blast it over bunkers and have a wedge run up to the front of the green. You could do that on a lot of holes, but not every one of them. This golf course, you have to be
the quiet part out loud.
A fraction more strategic, especially with the rough so long. I'm going to be as fearless as I possibly can be out there. I know that.
Still waiting
on
the Winged Foot Super to resign. Randy and I
where is
years
he?
ago.
Speaking of just throwing stuff out there, and
Good point.
Yeah, do words have consequences?
I talked to a couple of Winged Foot members today. I reached out to them.
Of course.
I imagine this has the whole thing in a tizzy. And they said, actually, the way that they set it up that week, he wasn't wrong, but it's not an accurate reflection of our golf course. So they had some qualms with the setup.
I thought that statement was I thought that was very much saying the quiet part out loud, right?
Yeah.
I thought he was totally right about that.
Yeah. I mean, he's got 25, I guess he's got 20 to 25 crankheads in his backpack this week. You know how many cranks that is?
Why do you need that many cranks?
Absolutely.
Shout out to Larry Brown.
Gonna have to start depreciating those cranks.
I don't with the crankheads.
I don't know if I agree with him when talking about the course being more strategic. I think it's just a better execution test.
But the strategies you got to hit the fairway. I think a little bit more.
No,
right?
but I think
it's less dumbed down.
Missing on the right side matters a lot more at Oakmont, where all those greens are just dead ass wide open from the front at Winged Foot, right?
I think there's a less of an ability to spray it wherever you want and figure it out from there. Here, I think would be the strategy of to your point, like missing in the right side of the fairway or making sure you don't hit in this bunker, blah blah blah. But it's not I don't think there's a lot of club options off the tee, which I think of when people describe strategy and where to come in from and how you want to come into a hole. I think guys are going to send driver in so many places.
I'm interested.
I don't think there's more than 8 or 9 drivers out there. I think
JT was saying JT was saying
number
8. Oh, good point. I think JT was saying he was looking at 9 drivers or something like that. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. It always is, there's a difference between the press room and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I'm interested to see that. So I think that'll be a interesting distinction.
But I think some of the less than driver holes are 5, which kind of takes, depending on what the wind's doing, but it has a huge ditch that runs across it that maybe takes driver out of your hands. 10 has a ditch that runs across it. That could potentially take driver out of your hands. 17 is maybe less than driver for guys to drive that one. I know I saw videos of Scotty hitting less than driver off of 1. I think that kind of surprised me. I don't know if that was just a practice round thing or what, but I just don't see that many holes where it makes a ton of sense to lay back.
I saw ZB hitting putter into 1.
Yeah,
I don't know if more people are going
to. I might see if Titleist can make me a custom mini driver that just says less than driver on it.
TC is hitting less than driver here.
LTD.
Good, TC.
LTD.
If not, you can write it on a Post-it note.
You can even stamp a wedge with that, right?
Yeah, exactly. A couple other Bryson quotes. He had some good stuff about YouTube. If any other players were asking about YouTube's hot in the streets, as you guys know. I saw Xander. Xander was asked about becoming a YouTube golfer. Sean Zock, I think, was being a little tongue in cheek with him, and Xander was kind of is that a serious question? No, I haven't been thinking about that.
Xander also has his own app, so that
didn't come up. And I don't know if anybody's actually
has anybody downloaded it.
I know. I had a half a mind to be like, man, I should go to a tournament just in a press conference, ask Xander about, hey man, can you talk to me about the app for a little bit? I would really enjoy hearing the answer.
It's got 11 reviews and only 4-star rating so far in the App Store, but I'm downloading it right now.
Yeah, I got to download it. That's the best.
Tommy's a creator now.
Tommy's on YouTube. And so Bryson was asked if any other players, come to you asking for advice on how to start a YouTube channel. He said Phil, without hesitation. Phil's been the only one to do that. John Rahm's talked to me about it a little bit, but he's busy with his family. I totally respect that. I have admiration for that. Phil has been extremely interested. He sees it as a viable option for commercialization, the future, inspiration, education, and entertainment. He did a short game series. Randy, did you own the Mickelson short game series on VHS?
I did. With the DVDs.
Oh, DVDs. Okay.
Yeah. I'll never forget. You got to hinge and hold. You got to hinge and hold on those chips.
I mean, that is
the high
kind of
flyers
way
just
to
need to
trip.
improve their EBITDA.
Yeah.
It's a good way to do it.
And he said him and Phil go back and forth. He teaches me a couple things out of the bunker and wedges, and I'm like, all right, here's some things we do for the channel that makes it a little more interesting.
That line killed me. I put this in there because that line killed me. Just seriously, yeah, we want all your weight forward here. Yeah, so this is how we do the thumbnails. Like imagine that conversation.
No. Make your
Man,
face
at the very
bigger.
end, you got to ask what they want to see next, Phil.
That's right. And then Solly, I think the last one kind of worth flagging was Bryson about motivation and if he struggles to find motivation. What was I don't know if I have this one directly in front of me here, but the crux of it was the only time where he struggled. Yeah. Okay.
Do you have any issues getting motivated? And if so, how do you deal with it? He said, I would say the only time I have low moments for me, like issues getting motivated, I would say is when I feel like there's no place to go with equipment or my golf game or swing thoughts or theories, but I somehow always seem to find a little bit of hope, give myself a little bit of hope. And another part of it is doing it for the fans, patrons, and the people that are viewing myself on YouTube. That's really what gets me up in the morning. It gives me a lot of passion for the game. I just love it. Yeah, I always get super low when there's nowhere to go with equipment. Was also a line that just killed me.
It's just a gearhead, man. I love it.
On the irons, he said that something up. He's like, the irons weren't ready. That's why we had to print another version. This is version 3 of the printed irons. Was
version 3.0.
He's a content factory.
Another guy that came into the press room was go ahead. Sorry.
Before we cover that, I want to give a shout out to our friends at Roback who are fitting us out for the happy hours as they always do. I wore this intentionally today. I've been talking about these summer tees. Absolutely perfect. It's been absolutely scorching down here in Jack's Beach. I throw one of these on the morning, can go do anything I want to do. Great for workouts, as well as just great to wear around the house. They're super comfortable, lightweight, breathable. They got so many great. The USA collection is on their website as well, roback.com. Code NLU gets you 20% off all these items. TC's rocking polo over there. D just got a polo as well. Randy's wearing one of my favorite hoodies. They just got incredible arsenal of stuff. The Delta Looper shorts are back in stock. Get them while you can because they're struggling to keep them in stock. Great waistband. They're super comfortable. They're great for the golf course. Great to wear around town. They got so much great stuff on there. They're constantly, again, I like to just go on their website and just looking at it. I don't need all of it. I don't need more Roback in my closet. I want it, but I don't need it. It's time to load up on some ahead of summer. Use code NLU at roback.com. 20% off your first order through the end of this week. That's RHOBACK.com. Code NLU. Back to the quote game.
Yeah, another guy that visited the press tent was our guy Rory McIlroy, who obviously fielded some questions about the world of driving and and trying to find a driver. I believe this was Adam Schupak asking him if I guessed the voices correctly. This was on the driver question. Have you settled on a driver that you want to use this week? Rory, yeah. What is it? A TaylorMade? What model? I mean, come out and watch me hit balls and you'll see. So I'm going to read between the lines there and say Rory's probably back to one of the old models of TaylorMade driver, possibly the QI10. Yeah.
This crisis management firm, they're turning into a bigger story than it otherwise would have been. It's just some glowing brain stuff. Does he have Ari Fleischer? Randy, your guy representing him or something?
I don't know, TC. That's a tough quote. I don't know, man. What are we doing?
The reason I flagged this one was like, let's just run this through the Hogan Cap Bryson era. Like if Bryson had done this exact thing, like, yeah, come watch me at balls and you'll see what driver I'm hitting versus like an open question that's like going to be in the Darryl survey and like just answer the damn question. Like again, it's a Streisand effect of
Amen.
like drawing more attention to the fact that he's unhappy with these annual driver, cycles that TaylorMade is on, and
which again, why can't Rory just go it alone? You want to win majors? That's the only thing that matters for you. Go it alone.
Yeah. So, anyways,
yeah, I don't know. That was a bit of a weird one. The quote I did like, and I feel like kind of sums up a lot of what we said on the podcast the last couple of years, was about his approach to the U.S. Open. He said, quote, I allude to this all the time. I missed the cut at the U.S. Open in 2016, 2017, and 2018. We were here in 16, Aaron Hills in 17, which is what it is. kind of an unnecessary shot at Aaron Hills. And 2018 at Shinnecock. Shinnecock was a really hard one for me because I love that golf course. And to perform the way that I did there, it really hurt me. And I made a decision to be like, okay, I would go back, I'd play Hartford the next week, and I'd feel really comfortable on a PGA Tour setup. And I think then is where it clicked. I was like, why am I so comfortable here in Hartford? But last week I had no clue what to do. That's when I made the decision at the back end of 2018 into 2019 that I want to build my game around the toughest tests that we have in the game.
Want to be a proper player.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. End quote. Hell yeah. Very, very pumped to hear that. And I think that, again, that backs up like his whole approach that, bottoming out there and then over the last 5 years just being an absolute predator at the U.S. Open.
And that quote ends with, obviously, the U.S. Open went from probably my least favorite major to probably my favorite because of what it asked from you, and I love that challenge.
And I'm very curious to see if we're going to feel that same way with the rough that we're facing here and some driver struggles potentially. And it kind of feels like if he drives the ball really great, he's probably going to feel that same way. And if he doesn't, then could be a different feeling. But
and then we get to see it at Shinnecock next year too.
Yeah,
I honestly, I read that as more of a. I think if he doesn't drive the ball great and he has a bad week, I think he would view that as very fair. Like he failed the test. Like it feels like he recognizes the test. He doesn't think the golf course owes him anything. And
we failed multiple tests.
Yeah.
Does this quote call into question? I think it's just further evidence that his 2011 U.S. Open is not an actual U.S. Open victory.
He said the quiet part out loud.
Exactly.
Randy, you should appeal the Grand Slam at a local level. See if you could maybe.
I choose to not recognize it, but
especially
it might be all the motivation he needs. Right?
The personal damage, that did to your brand. Like I think there's a lot of brand harm you could probably sue for.
It is one of those things. You say 2011 still sounds like 8 years ago. That was 14 years ago. 14 years ago, he won the U.S. Open.
Yeah, that was the first major I ever covered. How about that? That makes me feel pretty old. Any other quotes that stuck with you guys? TC, you shared Xander talking about number 8. He was not down for anybody complaining about that one.
Yeah, the loose stagners of the world, just kind of bitching about like who gives a shit if it's a 300-yard hole. Who gives a shit if it's a par 4 or a par 3? I don't think it's a great hole. I don't think it's a bad hole either. It's just like it's right there in front of you. But yeah, Xander, in as many words, was like, we're all playing the same hole. You just gotta play the hole. Like I'm just gonna hit driver down there and get on with it, or hit 3-wood down there and get on with it. It's not,
Randy, I kind of hit me today, and set the app aside for a second if you can. I kind of think Xander needs to be your dude. I feel like Xander's about all the things that you're about.
Apps.
And that's why I put the app to the side,
and
maybe put the cigars to the side. I don't know if you're a huge cigars guy, but I feel like he's kind of about a lot of the things you're asking for from a pro golfer. I would encourage people to go, watch or read his press conference from this week. He's got a great attitude for pro golfer. I feel like he lets people beat themselves. I think he calls bullshit on himself when he hits the wrong shot, and more often than not, I feel like he has started to step up. So I don't know. I've been very impressed, continue to be very impressed by Xander over the last couple of years. And
what?
I would encourage others to feel the same way.
Yeah, I think Xander and I just got off on the wrong foot.
Exactly.
I think we might need to reset the relationship. That's a good call out, TJ.
Just maybe put your antenna up and maybe, evaluate him on a trial basis going forward.
Yeah. No, it's a deal. I absolutely
Randy needs to go hang out at Xander's dad's compound.
Yeah,
plus the dad.
Hawaii.
Yeah. I just think
visit our guy Don Nelson while I'm out there.
I feel like Xander's like everybody's kind of forgotten about Xander. I feel like he might be getting ready to kind of reintroduce himself.
One final thing on length of par 3s. Cannot complain about the length of par 3s and be anti-rollback. Like this is the opportunity that setup teams and architects have to put long irons and fairway woods approach shots in your hands into greens, and the rest of the par 4s in the world have been rendered insufficient on that. So that's just one quick.
And there's variety out there. There's 16 will play long, but 13 up the hill, that's a great little hole. I think they'll probably move. They'll definitely move the tee up there. What's the other one? 4. I think 4.
4's a par.
5,
6 is a 6 and 8.
Yeah.
6 and 8 of the par 3s in the front.
And 6 is kind of a mid-length one. So like there's good variety in the par 3s at Oakmont.
Surely you know people will hear this all over the place, but in case we don't mention it again, Xander's played 8 U.S. Opens and never finished worse than 14th, which I feel like is
super
again
impressive.
Randy. I feel like that's your guy, right?
I know.
He's the grinder.
God, I might get on the app and just lose myself in
and it's the only way to get closer to him and and get the most up to date content. So anybody else in the press room, any other quotes you guys want to talk about, or shall we move on to some more Oakmont stuff?
I need to go back and watch Dustin Johnson's just to see what his vibe is.
No, you don't. I mean, you don't. You can. You're more than welcome. It's exactly what you would expect. I would expect nothing else. It's criminally, like, borderline concerningly chill, and just doesn't dodge anything, doesn't really answer anything. It's just kind of it's an exercise in obligation is what I would probably call it.
What if Dustin plays well this week?
Maybe
that would legitimately be fun.
Yeah.
It feels like something we can tackle when we get if that happens.
Yeah. just like Cantlay, we can tackle that when it happens.
What have we been seeing from the golf course? Solly, I know you flagged a couple interesting pins that we really need to be on the lookout for. A high alert.
Well,
notify your neighbors. Notify your neighbors about some of these pins.
This was kind of dawning on me was the U.S. Open Instagram handle put a great aerial shot up of every green on the golf course. Just went through all that, and a couple things you can see on those, and we highlighted this in our video as well with some of our drone footage of, like, you can see the darker outlines on the inner parts of these greens. Like, that's the shape they used to be and how much they have expanded. What does that mean? Like, you hear a lot of green expansion stuff. Like, it almost kind of sounds like they're going to get easier at times. But if you look closer, there's some really intentional corners into some of these greens. And that is like, I'm not the biggest Star Wars guy, but there's like this theory.
I've never seen it.
No. So there's a theory that goes around about, like, the prequel about Jar Jar Binks, about all these super intentional, really hard to notice movements in there, but it's like, it's animated. Like, it's not an accidental thing of, like, oh, this shadow moving this way is a very intentional movement. The theory being Jar Jar Binks was supposed to be like an evil Sith Lord or whatever, blah, 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 but they panicked and changed the outcome. But that theory of, like, all right, you do not make accidental movements on these topics. Like, these are not accidental little corners of this. This is designed for the U.S. Open. So you're going to see several of these green sections, these special little cutouts in these greens that were not there the last time, are where the USGA has the opportunity to flex into some of these. And there's about 7 different instances, if you want to flip through some of these, Cody, of different corners that are either new or just, like, especially diabolical. So if there's not going to be a lot of wind, you can see them tuck one way there back. Like, look how intentional that cutout is in the back left. You only do that if you're going to put a pin there for the U.S. Open. So you can expect
it's not for the members.
It is absolutely. it might be for the SWAT game for the amount they want to torture. We saw this back left one here on 5 when we played it, and it was so difficult as soon as you got off the fairway. But I just enjoyed going over and seeing these cutouts, especially in a lot of these. And my favorite one's probably on the 12th hole, the par 5.
Where one on number 7, I think, is my favorite.
That's a 7's good on 7.
The 12, everything here goes from front left to back right on the entire green, and this little cutout mid left is so hard. Like, it's legitimately impossible to get, like, near unless you're, like, chipping from green side. And that's just going to be an interesting element to watch guys try to crack the code on finding these little corners.
They've done a great job with 13 as well. Like, you can really see it there, bringing it back to, it has just gotten shrunken, and Jeff Shackelford had some good stuff on that one as well. But solid to your point too, we had a back right pin on 12 as well, and getting it all the way back there without going, like, long's dead, it just drops off, and getting it all the way back there, you're playing with fire. Trying to go at the pin too.
Some of the videos that we've seen surface, I think it was James Nicholas posted he just, like, threw it, like, tossed a ball from the front. I know some of these videos can get tiresome of, like, oh, look at how severe it is, but, like, just gently tossed a ball in the front of 12 green, and it went all the way off the back. Like, I think pace of play is going to be an issue, guys. I really think it's going to take a long time.
Stroke some guys.
God, I'm here for that.
For these guys to hole out. I think it's going to be.
I don't think they needed to stroke guys in the practice rounds. 6.5 hour practice rounds out there.
3 chips and 3 putts.
Pack a lunch, baby. It's the U.S. Open.
Hard hat on. Exactly. Yeah, God, I'm pumped about that. And then as far as the weather stuff, it sounds like the wind was moving, drying things out. Hopefully, it looks like a pretty good forecast. I think going forward, it should be. It's not.
Yeah, it looks like maybe a
absolutely
little
perfect,
bit of
but
rain.
I think it's going to be as good as we can hope for here, huh?
Little bit of rain this weekend, possibly, but no thunderstorms. It looks like, and should be dialed up pretty good by tomorrow afternoon. So, and Randy, people in the comments are calling it Strokemont.
That's where I got it, and then I just regurgitated it.
Do you think we'll see a slow play penalty this week?
I hope so.
No,
I don't.
I hope so.
I don't, but I think it's interesting.
Maybe
nowhere
an
to go.
amateur.
Nowhere to go.
Going to where we were, what we were talking about earlier is like I feel like the USGA has like completely bottomed out this time. In 2016 at Oakmont was kind of the bottom out, and I feel like they've been slowly climbing their way all the way back to the point where, as you guys said up front, like guys aren't bitchy anymore. It's like this weird combo of just make it as hard as you can. It's just a fair test, and you're like, wow, last time we were here, that is not what you would have been saying. That's wild.
I don't know. After we played at TC, I don't know if you felt this way. It was like one of the great ass kickings I've ever had, and my wish was just like, man, I wish I was better at golf. Like if I was better, that would be doable. It was not like I hit so many great shots that just got totally boned. I did not walk off feeling that. Maybe I just didn't hit any great shots, but like I watched TC pick it apart. I was like, this is possible. I just wish I was better.
I felt like it was an eminently fair test, and that was in 2D versus the 3D that they're seeing. So much more variety than I thought. But I thought also, like, I played Shinnecock recently, and I was like, oh, I'm not good enough to play this golf course. Like straight up, like this place, like I got my dick knocked in. I think I shot 85 or 86 from the members tees, and like I think I missed like 10 greens in a row at one point. So Oakmont was not like that, as long as you're in the fairway.
God, I appreciate the pause of whether or not you wanted to say dick punched in and still went for it. Like that was great.
Oh, I didn't even consider that. So, but I mean, Deej, to your point on the USGA, like going back and listening to that episode 43 or whatever, it was like half the episode we just spent bashing the USGA and how big of clowns they are and how they handle the DJ stuff,
which was
the course setup stuff, and then the Diane Murphy stuff too at the very end.
She's a girl.
A couple of pairings we can run through really quick. TC, I just wanted to put this one at the top. I'm calling this the Taste at TC pairing. Tom Kim, JJ Spawn, and Taylor Pendrith. I figured that's maybe one you're probably not going to be out there following. But anything else that stuck out to you from the pairings?
I saw they paired up Lonto and Blandy.
That
felt very personal.
Two style icons.
They're announcing it with intent. Solly.
We got Xander and Ballester and Bryson. That's a fairly traditional pairing with the USAM champion. Just all ball strikers here: Ludwig, Adam Scott, and Hideki. Solly, I don't know how you feel about Ben Griffin, Andrew Novak, Mav McNeely, the Prove It pairing, contract year pairing there. Just a bunch of guys going for it.
I love that.
Was it Keegan or was it Ben Griffin in that one?
Ben Griffin.
That was Ben Griffin? Okay.
Yeah. No comment.
Remark still the same. I'm in the same status here.
I don't know if this was, harkening back to the days where the USGA used to be really cheeky with their pairings, but they have Cam Davis, Davis Thompson, Thomas Dietrich. I don't know if that was intentional.
They could have put Davis Riley in there. I don't know if he's in the field or not, but that could have been a
couple open champions: Cam Smith, Brian Harmon, and Philip Mickelson. Again, potentially playing his last eligible U.S. Open. Who knows if he'll continue to try to qualify or get sponsor exemptions or maybe win this week? Who knows? How did you guys feel about? I don't want to take shots, but Minwoo Lee getting a pairing with JT and two-time winner
take a shot.
Koepka.
Go ahead and take
It was a stolen valor.
I feel like that's stolen valor. Well, meanwhile, your guy Lucas Glover, U.S. Open champion, is just buried down there with some also rans. It's
because he's speaking the truth.
I know. I'm not down with that.
Silence him.
Spieth playing with Rom and DJ. That's good stuff. Would encourage people to take that one in. Waco Neiman, potentially the best player in the world, playing with Bud Cauley. Can't count him out. And Dan Berger. Corey Connors, J Day, and P. I like that one.
Patriotic J Day.
Got the little American flag shorts. Yes,
Americana. More American than Aussie.
Lady J is just gonna chirp 51st State at Corey Connors the first 2 days.
And then who's Scotty and Rory playing with? I was so tied
Rory's
up
got
for
a
this silly pairing.
comfy pairing. He's with Shane Lowry and Rosie.
That's right. Love that.
Rose.
I don't. Do you have Scheffler's pairing? I don't have that in front of me.
Scotty is with
U.S. Open app, by the way, is good.
Scotty Morikawa and Victor Hovland,
That's
which
fun.
also feels nice and comfy as
Sure.
well. TC, you guys were up in. Sorry, you want to get something else?
Yeah, I was just going to say, before we get to, we're going to get to some core stuff and how accuracy plays into a lot of that stuff, how distance plays into a lot of that stuff. One way you can access better distance for yourself is go to the stacksystem.com/NLU. You just use code NOLAYINGUP to get 10% off your offering on the Stack. It is an incredible workout tool. I do it in the backyard. I warm up for 15 to 20 minutes. I swing heavy weights. I swing light weights for 15 to 20 minutes. It's getting a little harder to do in the summer. I'm not going to lie. I almost passed out yesterday. But that's on me because that was a return to form workout after the bad massage and the tendonitis that I had to work out. We're back. We're fine. We're totally fine. Anyways, fastest way to improving your golf game. I truly believe this. If you're a busy millennial with kids, with a work life, if you only have maybe an hour to work on your game, this is the best thing you could possibly do for it. You can do it at home. You don't have to drive to a range to do it. You don't spend time mindlessly practicing. You will train your body to swing the club faster, which is going to help you swing the club better. There's almost nobody in the world that I think would not benefit from swing training and being able to cruise at a higher swing speed. And it's fantastic. The stacksystem.com/NLU, code NOLAYINGUP as well. If you want to get baseball, if you're a parent of a baseball kid, getting your kids involved in the bat speed game so you don't swing it like Luis Arias would be a great thing for their game as well. So check it out. The stacksystem.com/NLU, code NOLAYINGUP.
Luis Arias is sick. He just can't be hitting second. He's got to be hitting fifth or something. Makes no sense. Sully, on the driver discussion, I know you had a couple of these guys, a couple guys flagged as far as people to watch. Although I guess this is a different chart. Sorry, this is the 2016 leaderboard that you put in here.
So this was a thing that Data Golf's got a great live blog that they run on their websites. Not just all data, everybody. It's got some takes and some
kind of like Data Golf's getting into the eye test game, reading this live blog.
Everybody
it was a lot of. I was reading it. Will. It was a lot of ooh, this guy. The sound coming off this guy's club is. I like that. This guy's got some pop. I was like, yeah, man, that's what we've been talking about.
Well, one of the many interesting things they did over there was looking back at 2016 and just saying all right. And maybe this is obvious, but there was nobody in the top 12 that wasn't either long or accurate, considered long or accurate. There's no below average drivers that were in the final top 12 of this. And it sticks out of there's not a lot of guys that just bomb it and are inaccurate. There's only 3 guys on this list: Jason Day, Brandon Grace, and Daniel Summerhays, that are considered inaccurate drivers that were able to top 12 at the last go round of this tournament. So I just found that interesting. And I went and did a little dive of the top 50 players in the current world in terms of strokes gained. Of those top 50, the list of guys that are above average in distance and above average in accuracy are Scotty, Bryson, Keegan, Berger, Spawn, Spieth, Hatton, Griffin, English, Neargard Peterson, Ludwig, Mav, and Taylor Pendrith. TC, that's a tough one for you, but
he's just not very good at everything else.
Bryson being plus 28 yards on average, better than average, and almost 3% more accurate than the average player is truly mind-boggling stuff. And that's not that small of a sample that they're working off there. It was just kind of mind-boggling. Scotty's, for reference, Scotty's only 5 yards longer than average, but 6% more accurate. That may not sound like a lot more accurate, but that is like that's an extremely accurate driver of the golf ball, and why I think there's very good reason to like him this week. But
a lot of Ryder Cuppers on that list. H.E., Keegan, Ben Griffin, things of that nature.
On your 20-man team, there are indeed a lot of Ryder Cuppers.
Well, there should have been a third column for flushers as well. Like, are you both of these things and a flusher?
Very few of those. Well, TC, I think one of my favorite things about the U.S. Open is just the fact that it moves around, the fact that we go to a bunch of different cities, see a lot of different golf courses, and so this time we're in Pittsburgh or near Pittsburgh, just outside Pittsburgh. I know you guys had a chance to get up there and not only go to Oakmont but do a little bit more exploration. What are some of your big takeaways from your trip up there?
Yeah, Randy, perhaps we should have fired back up the city trap draws for this one for Pittsburgh. But
did we ever do a Pittsburgh one?
I don't think we did. I think actually in that episode 43, we were announcing the start of the trap draw, our secondary podcast.
How about that?
In that episode, it was wild.
We had the main one licked. It was time to start expanding. Recorded on tin can.
Like TGL.
We were even a positive at the time, and we were ready to.
$12 in the door, 10 on the way out.
No, but flew up. First of all, it's we've been over this. It's not the Midwest. It's not the Northeast. It's the Paris of Appalachia.
That is the first time that you've said it's not the Midwest. By the way, so I will.
He
take
changed.
That
No, this was a trap draw take a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
okay.
It's more Midwest than it is Northeast.
But he does that thing where he doesn't really address it. He's just like, yeah, obviously. Yeah, we've all said that, obviously.
The food's great. I mean, I didn't realize how I hadn't been there in like 20 years, how big of a regional center it is between the medical stuff. And so anyway, had some guys reach out. Sasha Lobel was he's a kind of a cool story. He graduated from the First Tee program there, grew up at this Bob O'Connor golf course, and then played golf at Brown. Now he's a pro golfer. He's been playing on I think he played on the Alps tour, or many tours over in Europe for a little bit. And he was just like, hey, you should come see this place, Bob O'Connor Golf Course at Shenley Park. And it started out as the OG like Pittsburgh Golf Club, 1897. Our guy HC Phones. One of the two phones. Kevin Gates' two phones.
I'm up on the Kevin Gates thing now. It's very funny now that I know what you're referring to.
It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I had to connect the dots that the spelling FOWNES was pronounced phones, because I was so lost. Even like I figured that out this morning.
Yeah.
Anyway,
shout out to the Russian for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Phones won the club championship in 1899. City of Pittsburgh gained full control of the golf course in 1910, and it became one of the first munis in the country, which I thought was cool after KVV's podcast on Forest Park, one of his local munis there in Baltimore. After World War I, muni golf was starting to explode. There's the two phones right there, Randy. The phones. It's father and son.
It is a funny
brothers.
joke now that I get it.
Yeah,
right.
I apologize
all credit
for
to the
not
Russian
understanding on Monday.
Yeah,
literally two phones that designed the place.
Two phones. Well, I didn't. Yeah, see, there were so many things I didn't get.
But there was this guy, Carl Kaufman, aka the Shenley Sphinx. Dude, he won 3 straight U.S. Pub Links titles from 27 to 29.
I don't think that's him in the photo, but I'm doing my best.
It's not. But he won 6 City Ams in that time, including one at 52 years old later on. This prompted the city the county to build more championship golf courses. So it built South Park and North Park, and those along with Shenley were the only courses in Western PA that welcomed minority golfers for 50 years. There. In 1939, Andy Swedko, a 32-year-old steelworker and 6-time City Am winner, wins the Pub Links at Mount Pleasant Golf Course in Baltimore. Pittsburgh goes on hard times in the 60s, 70s, 80s as kind of steel declines. Shenley declines. Nearby Carnegie Mellon manages the property for about 15 years. There you see the Cathedral of Learning on the Pitt campus. I think we need to add that to the list of things that are sick. It's like one of the tallest buildings in the world at the time. I think it's still one of the tallest educational structures in the world. I need to go do a tour of that. But so basically, get us back on track. First Tee of Pittsburgh established in 2000. they eventually take control. They were aided by a bunch of money from the kind of Arnold Palmer Foundation themselves, and it was renamed for former Mayor Bob O'Connor in 2007. So the original routing, I think they've been hosting the city amateur there for the last 100 years. This is the original routing there. They've since rerouted it because it had so many. It crossed over the street like 7 or 8 different times, which is sick. So Sasha, who I mentioned earlier, he won the City Am as a 17-year-old graduate of the First Tee program there. So, but yeah, I was just blown away. They had this cool learning center. They were doing like TPI stuff in there. They do Operation 36. They've got kind of a burgeoning caddy program. So there you see the skyline of Pittsburgh there in the background, the U.S. Steel building and some of the other buildings there. Kind of cool skyline in Pittsburgh. Always appreciate a good skyline. But it's right there next to like two or three different universities, Pitt, Carnegie Mellon among them. Cool neighborhood and great piece of land. So they've got this great kind of learning center and practice facility, but it's really hard to like raise money as a golf course without golf carts and booze, neither of which they have there. So kind of an interesting deal that they're in. So they've recently kind of rerouted the golf course and stuff. And yeah, they just want to figure out how to get the most out of this piece of land. So I'm really curious and excited to see kind of the plan as it comes together. I know they've talked to a bunch of people and they're trying to kind of solicit ideas for, how to route this amongst these roads and all of that. So met some characters there. This guy, Don Wallace, holy shit, man. He was just like living legend. I think he played professional baseball. He served in Vietnam, carved out a business career, turned pro in golf pretty late in his life. But played high level professional golf. And then he was basically Sasha's mentor all the way through. And just like watching him interact, like he like peeled away from our conversation and saw some guy like, just kind of struggling on the chipping green, kind of like I do. And he ended up just, yeah. I was like, man, will you lay hands on me too? And he just ended up, working with this guy for 20 minutes. I went out and played with some guys in our Pittsburgh Roost, end up coming back, and that guy's still on the chipping and putting green, just practicing and stuff. Like it was like truly grow the game stuff, just like the most organic grow the game stuff I've ever seen before. So Eric Amato runs the place. He's the kind of CEO of the First Tee there. They're like the caddy training program ties in with what we're trying to do with the Evans Scholars of, you get these kids to places like Pittsburgh Field Club or Oakmont or, Longview or Fox Chapel, but like you got to train them before they get there even too. Right. So they're training kids to caddy on that front. So long story short, I was blown away by the place and just a cool place to get a game if you're looking for 9 holes out there this week and you're in town. So.
Man, I don't know if there's a more aspirational vibe than guy who hangs out at the public golf course. Just kind of a in a positive sense. I realize I can sound like just a kind of lingerer, but the regular at the public golf course. Maybe that's a better way to say it.
That's what Randy's thing in the Muni Pod was just like the people that are just hanging there, not there to play that day.
Yeah,
that's great.
God, they just add. Yeah,
they really
vibrancy.
do.
Yeah,
and like he retired from being a pro a few years ago. Like it used to be his job, and now he's just like, no, it's still my job. I'm just not getting paid for it anymore, and I love it, and it's just part of my DNA. So
TC
I mean, Solly, like
brain. Major Harris was there chipping. Like he's there like almost every day. Major Harris was the 1988 quarterback at West Virginia. Like I've watched that VHS tape 100 times, maybe. Like if he didn't get injured in the Fiesta Bowl, they might have won the national championship. But like there was a Major Harris. Like what? Holy shit!
Yeah. So I don't know, just the whole thing was, I was really, really impressed. And it was a good reflection of Pittsburgh too, of like, a couple hundred kids that are in this First Tee program and the kind of place that like, the more help they can get, the better the game's going to be. So the right people are running it between Eric Coing and Eric Amato and people like Don Wallace. So
anything else on the F&B front?
The Thai scene is outrageous. Remember this place, Noodlehead? There was another place. I'm trying to think what the other place was. I'll tweet it out, but there was a place, Morchilla, that came highly recommended. Apteca, the Oakmont Bakery. I sent out a Insta story earlier on that. That place was an absolute institution. And then we went to Alla Familia and had some smoked provolone and big ass hot banana peppers, which I guess are a big Pittsburgh thing. So unfortunately the Pirates were not in town. Otherwise we could have timed it up with Skeens Day.
We did have a great Hall of Fame debate over dinner. A bunch of guys that was Seamsters would have loved that dinner. It was a lot of fun.
And then Randy, these guys were riding for O'Neal Cruz as well.
I know
Yeah.
he's not as good as Ellie, but
God, he hits the ball so hard.
he does hit the ball hard. Did you guys ride the incline by chance? I just have to
No.
the incline in Pittsburgh. Things that are like such a cheap, fun thrill. I love the incline there.
I really want to go spend more time and just ride around the bridges, and like the architecture's awesome. Restaurant scene's awesome. It's got a cool vibrancy about it with so many universities and so much medical there. It's truly, I don't know. It's just a cool
It's a
place.
really good
and-
city. Yeah.
Yeah. And it kind of reminded, like, it was, I see some elements of Cincinnati in it, but I see some elements of like all of my favorite Midwestern cities, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Milwaukee, like all rolled into one. So there you go. You
really
like that, guys?
Really
There
pretty
you go.
downtown.
I love
Yeah.
it. Well, getting back to the golf tournament, I threw together, Randy, I want to throw some of these to you. And this is just quick. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago. I'm going to call this the A game. Okay. This is just kind of, Randy notoriously does not give out A's a lot. If he was a teacher, he would not give out a lot of A's. So I just want to know what are these things or people have to do this week to earn an A from you? And I want to start with Oakmont.
I think if it's a winning score of 278 or higher, it gets an A from me.
Okay. Jordan Spieth.
He's got a top 10. You guys know he hasn't top 10 to the US Open since Chambers.
Wow.
That had not.
That's
occurred
kind of
to me.
damning.
Okay. Joaquin Neiman.
I'm gonna be a little lenient here. I just want to see a top 20 for my guy.
Jeez.
Wow, that's an A. Wow.
Well,
Interesting.
Talk about
Okay.
great inflation.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay. How about the USGA?
the USGA, I need some guys bitching. If we lose a green, if we have a pin that absolutely is just in an impossible spot, I need the USGA to be the villain somehow.
I'd love to see us lose 3 green. We could lose 16 maybe.
Yeah.
12
Or
to
a
get
slight loss.
If they start stroking a bunch of people for pace, like I just need the USGA to somehow get involved. Yeah.
Or do the mystery stroke thing again. Maybe you're penalized, maybe you're not. Maybe you won, maybe you didn't. We'll figure it out afterward. Like that. That's what
Play
you
two
do.
balls. Play 2 balls.
Randy, I would say on the USGA's front, Fred Purple, the president of the USGA, had an impassioned rollback speech this week at his presser as well, which I really appreciated.
Well, well on their way to earning an A.
Exactly.
Patrick Cantlay.
I had Patrick Cantlay. For him to earn an A, he's got to be in one of the final 3 groups come Sunday.
Okay.
That's great. Very objective. I like that a lot. Solly mentioned Akshay earlier as a potential first-round leader. I'm curious your thoughts on Akshay.
I would say first-round lead, being in the hunt for a couple rounds, that for him, that feels like a good progression. I feel like anything beyond that, it's just not fair to him. Sometimes you got to meet the pupils where they are.
All right, I'm going to skip a couple of these so we can get to our picks. This is an interesting one. Corey Connors. I think he's like number 12 in the data golf rankings or 8 or something, like something absurd. He's been playing really good golf. I think he's top 25 or something at the last 4 majors. Nobody ever talks about him in any context whatsoever.
Well, because he's not a real threat. Like he'd have to be in one of the final 2 groups, or if he chirps at Lady J Thursday, Friday, like there are a couple different avenues for Corey.
Lady J might tell him that Canada's not a viable country.
I know. So you didn't like that I said he's not a real threat to win.
I just want to throw this out as a possible theory of. And I remember saying this in 2016 with a lot of people thought DJ couldn't win because he couldn't putt good enough in that era. I was like, maybe the greens are hard, like that hard that you don't like. They kind of make it hard for everybody, and the lesser putters kind of get neutralized a little bit, get kind of thrown in the blender a little bit. Like that's what cost Corey Connors in
Tommy.
these championships. So yeah, like that's a theory. That's a theory that I hadn't seen thrown around maybe enough of. Like, I don't know who's going to like ace these greens. So
this could be, yeah.
Last one. I'm sorry. I know
Corey has it. Like
I don't
picture him
but
going and winning on a Sunday, but that could be a freezing cold take.
Last one. I know you've been up all night grading papers here, big guy. But Richard Bland. What would earn
the
Bland?
great man.
The great man, Richard Bland. What would earn him an A this week?
No, like truly, I think making the cut. Just like I think this is such a difficult test. Like I will be so impressed if Blandy makes the cut. I think there are 3 seniors in the field. Him, Mickelson, and I can't remember the third. Probably whoever
might be a repeating senior this year.
He's an old.
Yeah.
He took your class already, I think, last year.
Like make the cut and just survive. Just
should
live.
suit him well. He's a phenomenal wedge player. He can putt, all of it. Also, we forgot to mention the lefty pairing earlier too.
Oh, Bob Mack. Who else?
Akshay
is in that one? Akshay.
and
Highsmith.
Highsmith.
Trying to think who else.
Joe the Show. Lacava 3.0.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for humoring me on that one, Randy. I like the
I
like the A game. I think
the Spieth one is, man. I want to see 4 good days from our guy Spieth.
No top 10 since Chambers is that had not occurred to me. That's tough.
Yeah, he's got a stinky U.S. Open record.
Guys, should we get into some picks?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm very upset by everybody on Twitter that was surprised to see Jordan's driving stats that good. Like,
been trying to
gotta have you guys tune in and listen, please. We're trying to draw attention to this.
All right, guys. These are, of course, all coming from the FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of No Laying Up. We had our team parlay where we always, we kind of pass the hat. Everybody nominate someone for a top 20 this week. Randy might not like this one. We came with Corey Connors, Victor Hovland, and H.E. Harris English, all in the top 20.
Thought about throwing Hoagie in there too, but wanted to keep it to 3 legs. A 3-leg Greg.
Solly, do you have the one and done picks in front of you?
I do. For one and dones, KVV is going with Patrick Reed. Neil is going.
That's wild.
Huh.
Neil is going for Scott Scheffler.
One to have.
Yeah.
Randy and I fishing in the same pond here. We are both going with John Rahm.
I like this one too.
TC is taking Victor Hovland.
Solly, I'm going to change that. I haven't used Scott Scheffler yet. I would like to use Scott Scheffler.
Yeah, what are you holding?
I've already used Ludwig. I've already used HE. I've already used Colin Morikawa. I'm going to go with Scott Scheffler. Use it or lose it.
And DJ is going with Bryson. Those are our one and done picks for the year. I've already burned a lot of guys. But
I used Scotty at the Masters already. Otherwise, I would very much enjoy going with him. Guys, we each picked a couple of bets from the offerings over at FanDuel. Randy, give me your 2 favorite bets that you dug up.
So just in terms of like sheer value, you quoted Xander, my guy, Xander's U.S. Open record earlier in the show. His worst finish is tied for 14th, I believe, in 8 career starts. For him to top 20, he's currently minus 135. So I'm not saying it's free money, but you gotta risk a bit to earn some back. I just think that's a nice play. And then one of my favorite bets, I don't think it's a good bet, but I love how they group the seniors out. They have top senior, Phil's plus 120 to win it. I believe Blandy might be the favorite in that. So I'm going to be monitoring that. I just love watching Phil.
I saw TC. Did you have a senior parlay or something, or was that Randy's that was listed on the NLU specials? That might have been Randy's.
I think that was Randy.
I think that was
Yeah.
Randy has Phil Mickelson top senior and John Rahm top live plus 674.
I like that one too. Yeah, that's a third one, but that's a fun one.
I'll tell you who I'm kind of bummed who's not playing, who I think it would have been a good fit for him. Billy Horschel. This would have been a Good spot
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah. That's kind of shocking he's not in the field, honestly.
Well, he had hip surgery.
Oh, duh. Right. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. TC, what are your 2 favorites?
I got a 72-hole match bet. Team Rose plus 125 over JJ Spawn.
That's
That's
disgusting
fascinating.
behavior.
Solly just sent through some new Team Rose that just dropped as well on the socials.
Team Rose is taking us
Slow-mo
to-
hype video for Team Rose.
Yeah. No, I
I want to
uh,
shout out on the FanDuel Sportsbook. There's some awesome.
Let's go.
Oh, we're gonna get flagged for music.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna be cool with this. Over on the FanDuel Sportsbook, there's some awesome 72-hole
song.
match bets. Every time I was like,
Yuck jams.
I was finding a player, I was like, oh, I think they're gonna play well. I'd go to look who they're matched up against, and it's like a bunch of bizarro golfers looking at each other. They're awesome matchups.
You know what else is a fun one? They have the closest to the pin for the par 3s, and number 8 specifically. There's a no green bet. I might be fishing in those ponds.
I love that.
like nobody's gonna hit the green, or
Well, it's a long par 3, TC.
it's like 150 guys in the field.
No. For each pairing. So for like each group of 3.
I thought you also
Like
meant
somebody
nobody
will,
all day.
of course. Yeah.
I saw there
no,
was
somebody
a
will.
bet, a bogey free for the whole week bet floating around out there. I was like, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Uh,
DJ, I've got
What else you
just
got?
I got some Ludwig Morikawa stuff, top 20 in ties. I got Ludwig first round leader. I got Tom Fleetwood, winner without Scott Scheffler, plus 3,000. Felt like that was pretty good value. You guys could probably meet me there.
yeah, I think
If-
that's that feels very possible.
If it's
Yeah.
backdoor, yeah.
If
Yeah.
Scheffler,
big
I was
one-
gonna say if Scheffler's winning by 7, sure, I can meet you there.
My big one was
Scotty's up by 9 going into the final round, and Tommy just shoots 68 rockets
my
up the
big
board.
one, Rory to miss the cut, combined with Rio Takeda to win the Meyer LPGA.
So good.
I know you like that one, Randy.
What are the odds on that?
I had a Leishman top Oceania, Fleetwood top Englishman, and Connors top Canada plus 5360. And then I had a Cantlay Spieth Henley Hoagie English top 20 in ties ball striking fiesta.
That's a fiesta.
I would like to make that one a
It's
top
fiesta.
40. But yeah. A Rick D's.
Solly, what'd you have?
Mean spirited, but Wyndham Clark's just minus 122 to miss the cut. I feel like
Doesn't feel like
that
a great
might happen.
setup.
Piglet.
And then you can get any of Scotty, Bryson, Rahm, or Xander to win at minus 112. Just like a big guns versus the field. It includes Scotty and Rahm and Bryson. I mean, I don't think Xander's going to win, but that just feels like one of those guys is going to win. Is my gut. So I'm
liking Rahm this week, guys.
I think Rahm would make a lot of
I know,
sense.
I know.
I'm with you.
I
Make a
don't
lot
know.
of sense.
You got some good intel, TC. I don't know if that was for public consumption or not.
On Rahm?
But yeah, from our friend in Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't Hartzell tell you something?
Just saying how many F bombs he dropped in a row. I think he's locked in.
Who cares, DC?
That's right. I had a couple. I'm gonna zag a little bit. Just a couple names. I got just weird feelings on. You mentioned Keegan. Solly, I'm gonna put my hypothetical money where my mouth is here. Keegan for a top 10, including ties, is plus 450. That doesn't seem laughable to me. I think that's interesting to look at. And a guy, especially looking at the Andrew Landry's, Daniel Summerhays of the world going on that 2016 leaderboard. Denny McCarthy for a top 20. Guy that drives it really straight, added some pop in the bat, makes all kinds of putts, and he's plus 300 for a top 20. So I
like that.
I kind of dug that one. Even did a little top 20 parlay there with Denny, Corey Connors, and Ryder Cup lock Sepp Straka, which was going off at about plus 1,600. So lots of interesting stuff. Like we said up top, it doesn't really feel like it's just going to be like one of the top 8 guys. It feels like it's a little more open.
Solly just said it was going
just
to be
said
one of
the
those four
big
guys.
guns
Yeah.
versus the field.
Well, that's a good bet too. No, that's the thing. It's like I don't know.
I know.
It's either
truly-
go big guns or go way down the board, right?
Yeah, it feels like it.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
But
I
Although
love
I'm
that
not-
Hoagie, Henley, English. Nobody's mentioned Lowry yet. How we
I
feeling on him?
know. He played pretty well, didn't he, in 16?
Yeah.
Well, link to all of our FanDuel specials are in the episode description and at fanduel.com/NLU. So special thanks to FanDuel on that.
Guys, I think just a couple more picks here that are customary. Of course, first, who will not win, and we're going to pair this for the guys who aren't here with who will win. So Neil, I believe, sent in his picks as well. To not win, he has John Rahm, and his pick to win is Scotty Scheffler. Cody, I saw you just sat back down, and you can take over the controls. Sorry. Who got next? KVV?
Technically, the WNBA's got next.
Oh, this is me.
That's true.
Yeah, my pick to not win. I don't feel like this is. I don't have good juju here with Rory. I'm TC. I like that miscut play. I'm going with Ludwig. Okay, here's my case with Ludwig very quickly. Since the final round at Memorial, he's been 68 or better. That included all 4 rounds in Toronto. Good driver of the golf ball. Showed up in Solly's stats earlier. Again, 7 of the 9 winners at Oakmont. It'd be their first major championship, and I just love his demeanor on a really tough setup. I as close to a premonition. I like Ludwig.
I love that, Randy. And I think he's cleaning up some of his stuff. Like, I think he's back to being Ludwig here moving forward. So
DJ Pie, what do you got cooked?
I had for my pick not to win is JT. Maybe that's not, sticking my neck far enough out, but he has been kind of, he's been a top 7-8 player, I feel like. But I think this speaks to what I was saying earlier. It's like, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't want to rule out Scotty or Rory or Xander or Rahm or Bryson or Ludwig. I feel like all those guys can win this week. So JT is where my sword is going to fall, and I am in a giraffe and pick Scotty Scheffler to win.
Mr. Solly Solomon.
I am also going to cross off Rory. Just doesn't quite feel right. You can see best feel there in that picture. And I look, Scotty prediction is not bold. But I do think he's going to win by 3 or more. And I think it could honestly be 8. It very well could be. All of my eggs are in the Scotty basket. I'm not going to miss this one.
I got to check the FanDuel Sportsbook. I feel like there's got to be a Scotty to win by.
I was hoping for that.
More.
Give me a point point spread.
Yeah, exactly. What else we got, guys? Is that it? Oh, TC.
Well, you got a couple
course.
more people. Before we get there, we had sweet baby KVV still, I think, recovering from his 100-hole hike, not to win a top 10 player in the world full time, the Keen man, and then to win was Bryson. But TC, the floor is yours. Who'd you go with?
Yeah. Listen, I had a lot of different directions we could go. I was choosing between Scotty, Rahm, Ludwig, Harris English, Tommy, of course, Spieth, Hovland, lot of things. Guys, this doesn't mean that he's not going to win at Portrush. I'm going with Tommy. I think it's the week.
And the Rib's not going to win.
Any context? Any context on why it's this week?
Good vibes. He's got the new channel set up. Solid, like you said, the
100% of the U.S.
putting.
Open champions the last year have been YouTubers.
That's true.
TC. That's a stat you can take to the bank.
And he's, I don't know. I mean, Solly, you were saying like, hey, I don't think there's that many birdies out there. It's just like he's really good at making a bunch of pars down the stretch, and accurate driver of the golf ball for the most part. He's not driving it as well as he has in years past. He's a flusher of the irons, tidy around the greens, and I think the putting is good enough. Like he's objectively, I think, an above average statistical putter. And if there's something there where other people are missing putts, I think it's Scotty or Tommy. So I'm going to go Tommy. I'm going to ride with it. I had Neil placed a wager up in New York this week. We're putting our money where our mouth is.
It's very interesting. Last week I was with TC, and he said he was not going to do this. So I'm very, very interested to see what had changed in the last 3 days.
Liz, I told myself 3 hours ago I wasn't going to do this, Cody, but I cannot help it. It's played, like I said, we were out at Shinnecock. Tommy shot 63 out there on Sunday of the U.S.
Tommy's
Open.
alley.
I didn't even see 4 birdies out there, much less what Tommy did out there. I know it was a feeble attempt on 18, but I just can't get that in my head.
Maybe he'll be up by so many that he won't need to make one of those putts.
And that leaves the Open Championship still in play for you with your one and done pick. It's still
Exactly.
not
I've
taken.
played this right. I think the mini driver is going to be such a weapon for him off the tees too. He's so accurate with that thing. So
I mean, if
Shut
there
up,
was a time, why not this week?
Laughing,
TC?
I've played it right. I've sprinkled the board. I've covered all my bases. People are in the streets crying about how well TC has played this.
TC played the game the right way.
Where is TC going to fly to on Sunday to avoid having to confront this result?
There's a breeze direct on Sunday. It gets me in
Pittsburgh.
at 2:30.
What
Pittsburgh.
what if Tommy misses the cut or something? You're gonna have to fly somewhere else. Go into hiding for the weekend.
I feel like that's like a reverse jinx. So the last time you did that and you planned it out, it just didn't work out the way you thought.
That's fine. Well, that's why I'm laying it all out. I'm getting it all out there.
Listen, I sincerely, I think there's not a person on this call that's rooting against Tommy being in the mix. I mean, that's just
we get through Port Rush.
Yeah, I'm
in the
rooting
mix,
for him to
in the
mix.
mix.
In the mix, yes.
I don't think there's a person on this call rooting for him to win because of what it's going to mean when it happens. But
if we get through Port Rush and he's not a major winner, we can have a talk.
We heard all this before.
And then
we can talk about it.
And then we can talk about Birkdale and Aronimink and Shinnecock should set up well for him, but we can at least have the talk after this year.
TC's gonna be like, after the 2049 U.S. Open at Oakmont, we will have that conversation. Put it on the calendar.
Hey, what did you say, Randy? 7 of the last 9. This is their first major.
time. I know.
Who knows?
We'll see.
Guys, anything else we want to empty the notebook on before we get out of here?
We should get big hats that say DMCA.
Someone say we should get big ones that say EBITDA, which I think would be
with a plus sign.
Yeah, exactly. Green arrow. Well, guys, on the housekeeping front, the czar's gone crazy. He's offering mystery boxes. Neil cleaned out his office, handpicked a pile of goodies for 2 newsletter subscribers, 1 new and 1 current. All you have to do is subscribe to the No Laying Up newsletter, where you will receive exclusive content, merch, event updates, and more. Sign up now through June 15th. Winner will be announced the following week. Win the czar's money. You sign up at subscribe.nolayingup.com/giveaway. And gentlemen, I think with that, we're going to turn it to officially the U.S. Open. Next time we talk to everybody, we will have 1 round in the books. I'm sure Tommy will be leading by 4 or 5 at this time tomorrow, and I cannot wait to talk about it. Cody, thanks for building out all the graphics. Randall, great to see you as always. Great job grading those papers. TC, electric stuff, and shout out to Solly, who just had to jet out just a minute early there. But we will catch everybody tomorrow. Cheers.
Cheers.
FanDuel, the official sports book of No Laying Up, must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C. Gambling problems, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rghelp.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.